you guys. Let's start with today's session. Now, in yesterday's session, we started with object-oriented programming in Python. Initially, we saw what is procedure-oriented programming, object-oriented programming. We tried to differentiate between procedure-oriented coding and object-oriented programming. Then, three important buzzwords concerned with object-oriented programming. That is, what do you mean by object, what do you mean by class, then encapsulation, and then related to encapsulation there is a concept called abstraction. Okay, now we have to start with actual object oriented programming in Python, right? So first we have to see how to create class, because they are the main basic building blocks of every object oriented programming. You cannot create an object unless and until the class exists. So first you have to create a class, and then only we can create objects of that class, right? So to create an object, that is copy, you have to first create a template. Unless and until the template or the blueprint or the design or the mold is not made, we cannot create copies of that design, right? So how to create a class in Python? Very simple rule, keyword class will be there. After that, there is a class name, class name, colon. Colon indicates end of the header line. Colon is having very big impact, or it's having importance in Python programming. Like every conditional statement, like if, else, elif, while, for, each lines or function definition, each line, see, they end with a colon, isn't it? You might have observed it. So class header line also completes with colon. So class is a keyword. After that, the name of a class, which has to be a valid Python identifier. Means it should follow Python identifier naming rule. Okay, then colon, and after that whatever comes in indentation. Indentation means you know, no? You have left some columns, and after that you are typing. So whatever code comes in indentation, that will be called as the body of that class. Okay, so in that class body, what all things can come? Data and methods, isn't it? Data can come plus methods can come, right? I hope it is clear to you. Now, another important feature of Python is Python says you can create first an empty class, and then later you can add data members and methods in it, which I'm sure C++ and Java programmers, they won't accept it, because that is a static type language. No? It's a static type language. Means there first you have to write the code. That code gets compiled, and then that compiled bytecode only you keep running again and again. In Java or in C++ or in C, does your code only modify code? No, not possible. Does your C program make change runtime in your C program only? Or does the Java program make change in the Java program? No. Once you write that Java program, getting? So unless and until you don't make changes in it, you have to use the same bytecode again. What I'm trying to tell you is clear to you. Okay. Does the code only modify code? No, it is not possible in those languages, because they are static. Here it is possible. Runtime you can add properties. Runtime you can add methods in your class. Clear? So they say you can create an empty class first. Okay, so how to create an empty class? Just by putting pass. I hope you remember this pass concept in chapter 2, where you have to write mandatory something. Mandatory you want to write something, but now you don't want to write something. So how you'll bypass that? By doing a no operation statement. This is a no op code, no operation called pass. Now you can leave this class empty. Okay, then you can create objects of it, and later you can add properties in it. That is the peculiarity of Python OOP. Correct? So now you can create an empty class, leave it empty, then create objects of it, and after creating objects you can add properties, you can add methods in it. Okay, so that is the speciality. Now class creation is clear. Now we'll see how to create objects. Now to create object, you will have an reference variable, that is name of your object, in which the reference of that object is copied. I hope you know when you create an object of simple integer class also. So you write x equal to 10. But what happens that you know, no? An object of which class is created?
Int.
Exactly. Then 10 is stored in that object, and the reference of that object is stored in your object variable, that is x. Right? Same thing is for case of cat, but cat is our created, it's not already provided by someone, we have created. So how to create an object? So object equal to class name you have to write, and just round bracket. They will say why you write round bracket. So this is actually a call to the constructor. Now if someone not knowing about constructor, don't worry, we'll come to it. Some already know C++, Java, so they know constructor means what. So actually implicitly constructor is called. So at this moment leave it aside, just remember, give the class name round bracket, object of that class is created, okay, then the reference come in this obj. Actually after creating object, immediately what is called constructor, and then the reference is returned which comes in obj. The same way here if I write money equal to cat or kitty equal to cat, now what will happen? It will create two objects of which class? One cat class object is created, meaning as much memory is needed for that cat object is allocated. Okay, as much memory is needed for that cat object, that much memory is allocated. Its reference is returned, which is collected in money variable. Correct? So that variable money is containing the reference of this cat object. So money only is called as an object. And same way, one more object is created of class cat. As much memory is needed for a cat object that is allocated. Its reference is stored in another variable called kitty. So now actually kitty and money are two reference variable which are holding the reference of these two objects. But instead of calling them reference variable, we can call them only as an object. Money is an object, kitty is an object. Correct? So I hope you got it. And now later when you want to access members of it, you want to access data members of it. So you can access the members by writing object dot property. That is, it can be an attribute or it can be method also, if there is. Clear? Depend. But using dot operator, we will access that attributes and methods. You understanding? So that is the general flow. So you have to create a class, then create object, and then access properties by using dot operator. So object dot property, object dot method. Okay, so this way you will access it, right? And if I pass this money object to print directly, will it do? Now I hope you know that in Python, whenever you pass an object to print, what is implicitly called for that object? No? How much time you're taking? I'm expecting from you guys.
Magic method.
Which magic method?
Underscore str underscore.
Yes, then you have to tell it so quickly, correct? So it will give call to that magic method, and in Python all magic methods are dunder method. So will it call money dot double underscore str double underscore?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Here also will it give call to kitty dot double underscore str double underscore? Right? But now you may have a question if you are carefully observing from the beginning. So you may have a question that cat class is empty. Cat class is empty. So in cat class there is no magic method. This magic method only is not there. So how it will call it? It may give an error. Getting? So it doesn't give error. Again, I'm saying that those who are having confidence on Java, they can quickly relate it because it's very much going in the same parallel lines. Okay? Here, double underscore str double underscore method is called according to the rule of Python is that when you pass an object to print, there implicitly you don't call, but implicitly here this magic method is called. But the question is the cat class is empty. It is not having any magic method. So how it will call? Will it give an error? So it doesn't give error. Still it gives call to magic method. So why? Because every class in Python is never orphan. Getting? Or I'll frame that English statement like this: no class in Python is orphan. Now I guess you know the word orphan. Yes or no? Orphan means without parent. That child which is not having parent, it's called as an orphan child. Right or no? This is a common English word, commonly used. So any child which doesn't have parent, it's called as an orphan. Getting? But no class will be orphan in Python. Means each and every class in Python will have a parent. If you have given any parent, so obviously. But if you have not given parent, it will have a parent. Now I'll say who is that parent. So that parent is object class. It's called as a cosmic class. Getting? O is small, whereas in Java O is capital. Even in C#, those who have learned C# and all, so there also it is capital. Okay, it's called as a generic class, root class of everyone. Getting? Like for example, suppose I have created already one class person. Okay? Then I have created class student. Okay? But this student is derived from person. Means it is child of person. And suppose I am having ty student, which is derived from student. Getting? And suppose now you created an object of ty student and you pass to print. You're passing an object O equal to ty student, and then to print you're passing O. So according to the rule here, what is going to get called, my dear students? Just now I guess Shweta told.
Magic.
It is going to call that magic method double underscore str double underscore. Yes or no? So it will call that magic method, but first it will search that magic method where? In the class whose it is an object. So tell me, ty student, is this O object of ty student?
Yes.
So it will search that magic method in which class?
Is existing class.
Means whose object it is. So it's an object of ty student, it will search it.
Correct.
But suppose in ty student there is no magic method. This magic method is not there. Okay. So still Python doesn't give any error. It will continue its search in the parent. Everything like real life. In real life also, see, first when the child is having any issue, so the search will be done in its own class, no to in the parent class. Parent, no to their parent. The search process continue. So this magic method is first searched in its own class. Not found, it will go to its parent, that is student. If student class is also not having magic method, so will it go to its parent, that is person. Isn't it, guys? And in person class also, if there is no magic method, it will go to person's parent. But person is not having parent. So is Python going to give one parent to it?
Object.
Means will Python keep this class orphan, or will it immediately provide one parent class? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Which happens in your processes also. No? Internally in computer, as many processes are running, every process is a child of some parent process. Everyone is a child of some other parent process. Right? Those who have learned Unix internals, they might know it more clearly. So person is not having any parent. So Python is going to give one parent class to person. We don't have to write. Okay, and if you write, then also it won't give error. Like if you create person and write here object, no error. And if you don't write, then also here automatically what will be given? Parent class. So now person's parent is object. And in object class, there is guaranteed this method. Means this method, this magic method, double underscore str, double underscore, is sure present in which class? Yes, guys? It will search in ty student. Not found, it will go in its parent. Who is the parent? Student. Student. Not found, it will go to student's parent, person. Here also not found, so it will go to person's parent. And who is the parent of person? Object. And guaranteed in which class you will get that dunder method?
Object class.
This dunder method is sure present in which class? Object class. Okay, but suppose in this whole journey, if it gets this underscore str underscore in any of these classes, it will use that one. Getting? So if it gets in ty, it will use ty. If it gets in student, it will use student. If it gets in person, it will use person. But not, so finally it will go to object and it will call that. So I hope this concepts all whatever I am telling, you are understanding all these things. Right or no, guys? Okay. Now you may ask, like, what does that object class dunder method print? Getting? So like in Java, if you know about in Java, it prints class name, @ and some hexadecimal number, something like that, which is actually the hash code. Here it prints address in angle bracket like this. It tells it's an object of class cat, at, and some address. Getting? Address of that object. See. Okay, I have not started with it. You can do it in idle as well. PyCharm, if you have got habit now of PyCharm, start using PyCharm. Okay, see here. Class cat, if I do colon, enter and pass. I'm just leaving it empty class. Okay, I've created an empty class. Now I'm writing money cat. Money equal to cat. So you're creating an cat object. Okay. So what is created? One cat object. How to create an object in Python? Class name round bracket. Object, no use of word new over here, because I'm sure many of you have habit of that. Even in C# also, even in Java also. While creating object, we write class name round bracket, but before that we write new. Here there is no concept of new. Class name round bracket. One copy of which class is created? Can anyone tell me? Copy of cat class means one instance. Yesterday I told you, like, we have one mold, clear, an heart shape or a star shape, aluminium mold for making cake. But from one heart-shaped mold, one tray full of cakes are made. So that tray full of cakes are objects. But to make that object, I used one mold, aluminium mold. So this cat class is the mold, and money is the copy of it. Okay, so money is the object which is belonging to that category cat, right? And now if I write print money, what is actually going to get called implicitly?
Under method.
That dunder method, money dot double underscore str double underscore, that is going to get called, right? But in our context, that dunder method is going to get called from cat or from cat's parent. Yes guys, I'm expecting answers from
From
you.
object class, parent class.
Right? So as there is no dunder method in cat class there is no dunder method. Still Python doesn't give error. So obviously it will go to cat's parent. And who is the parent of cat? Object. And in object class, sure there is dunder method, that str. Getting? See here. It prints. This is the name of your module. So when you are running anything in this interactive environment, whenever you are running in the interactive environment, everything gets stored in this default module. This is the name of the module, underscore underscore main underscore underscore. And in that module, there is a class called cat. And money is an object of this cat class at this address. This is an hexadecimal address. You can print and see the same thing like this. Hex ID money. ID of money will give you ID of money. Will it give you address of money object? What does ID function do? You know now in Python we are at very later stage now. We have come to far away from the initial stage, right? So does ID function return the address of that object? It returns the address of that object in decimal form. That decimal address I am giving to hex, it will convert to hexadecimal form. Does the address tally? Only it has come in lowercase. Suppose here only if I write dot upper, will it do? All these things we have studied. Upper function we have studied in string. So anyway, ID is going to return decimal address. That decimal address is converted to hex. And that hexadecimal value in string it will come. And then that string object is invoking its upper method, which returns the same address in uppercase. Okay, I hope it is clear to you guys. Lot many more things to learn. Let quickly move to all this discussion. You may have doubt. Okay, you may ask that too. Let's go through this slide quickly. So class definition start with class keyword. And unless and until you create a class, you cannot create object of it. Yes or no, guys? Like, then you may say like, then what about integers and string and float and boolean and complex? So their classes are already provided by Python. Python has provided their classes already. We are just creating objects of it. You understanding? And suppose you want to create your own class only, an object of it. So definition of the class you only have to do. So class definition starts with class keyword followed by name of the class, and then as this header line get over, you have to put a colon. Getting? And after that header line, if you put an indentation means tab. Clear? You're leaving some space. So any code that is indented below the class definition is considered as the body of that class. Okay, quickly I'll give you the syntax. Class, class name, colon, and then after indentation, some class body. Now normally class body will contain data and functions. Yesterday I told you, class is an encapsulation of. Yesterday we saw the definition of encapsulation. So there I have already told you.
Data types and
data and methods,
Yeah.
that is characteristics and behavior, right?
Yes.
So all the data and functions will contain logic, functions will contain algorithms in which that data will be getting accessed or manipulated, right?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it? So that data functions come in the class body. See here. So contains, what does this class body contain? Data field to store characteristics and methods to define behavior of the object. So we call it as a method, but actually it is a function. Always remember, function inside the class is called as a method. And when the function is outside, just function. It is just a procedure. And when that procedure becomes part of a class, we call it as a method. It's an literature. Python literature, not only Python, it's an OOP literature. Object-oriented programming literature says when the function goes inside the class, call it as a method. Okay, but what will that method contain? Logic in which this data will be getting accessed, will be getting manipulated, will be getting processed. And now how to access them, these data fields and methods, by using a dot operator. So you'll create an object and then dot data, dot method, which I showed here. See, we are creating object and then dot attribute, dot method. Are we using object dot attribute, object dot method? Okay. One example I have taken, class cat colon and pass. Now from this you can observe that Python allows you to create an empty class. Same way in Java and in C++, can we create an empty class? Yes, but we cannot later add in it. Empty class creation is allowed in those languages, right? I can create class ABC, open brace, close brace, that's all. It's an empty class. But it doesn't allow you later to add properties in it, later to add data in it, methods in it. That is no provision given. Here they have given that provision. You create an empty class and then runtime you can add properties. Runtime you can add methods in it. That is the speciality. Okay? See here. Signifies empty class body. As I put pass, it indicates it's an empty class body. And can we add later members in it? Yes. You can add data members, methods, everything runtime you can do it. Okay. So now till here I hope it is clear. Defining a class. Now creating object. Creating object means only creating copies of that class. Right? So class means the data type and object means the variable of that data type. Yes or no, guys? Int is a class and x and y are variables of integer. So therefore they are objects of integer. So now once the class is created, create object of it. How to create object? I gave the syntax. You have to write object name equal to class name round bracket. Okay. So what is object creation? That you know. So creating an object means creating copy of your class. Creating copy, that only will allocate memory. Objects take space. Okay, always remember, object takes space in the memory. It is the copy of your class. Therefore, it's an instance of that class. Right? See, objects take space in memory. Now, what is the syntax? I told you, object name equal to class name round bracket. Now, many may have a question, why you write round bracket? So, it is actually a function call. Here one more magic method is called. Here also one magic method is called, and that magic method is called as a constructor. But just for time being I am avoiding that terminology because we are going to come to that topic again separately. That is, what do you mean by constructor? So we'll be learning that too, don't worry. So obj equal to class name round bracket. So this moment you just remember one copy of this class is created. One copy of this given class name is created. and the reference of that object is stored in this obj. Reference means address is stored. Okay? See, instance, that is copy of this given class name is created in memory. And the reference of that copy, reference means you're understanding, no? Address of that copy is stored in obj. Agreed, guys? Okay? As an example, see here, money equal to cat, kitty equal to cat. So are we creating two copies of cat class? One copy created, reference stored in money. One copy created means memory is allocated for one cat object, means as much memory is needed for that cat object is allocated. Its reference is stored in money variable. So actually money is a reference variable, but we'll call money only as an object. Okay, and again one more object created, its reference is stored in kitty. So money and kitty are going to act as two objects. Okay, so money and kitty are two objects of class cat, right? And if I pass that money object to print, right, so something like this get printed in angle bracket. So actually who has returned this whole string in angle bracket? One in angle bracket, the module name, then within that module the class name, and then the address of that object, everything in a string form. Actually who returns this?
Object class.
But actually internally what has happened?
Magic method is called.
Yes, exactly. Here one magic method is called, that money is going to invoke that magic method, money dot double underscore str double. See, if you want, I'll show you here. We will explicitly call money dot double underscore str double underscore. You'll still get the same output. So when you are still getting the same output, it proves that here implicitly this thing is called. So this is a magic method. Okay? Now that magic method, first it has searched in its own class, not found, so it went to its parent class. Then from parent class it has searched. Getting to that process, you know. Okay? I've just cross-verified it. I've first found out the address of money object. That address I gave to hex function. Hex function converted that address to hexadecimal string, and that string is returned. Okay? See, is it address of money object? Memory address of object money. So till here, I hope all of you are clear with it. Right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, many more things, many more things we have to learn. That is how to add data within this class. Now, this class is empty class. So, Python is saying you can first create empty class and then add data methods in it. So, how to add data in it? All that now we have to discuss. But before that, one more thing, that is, what do you mean by documentation string? So, Python documentation string. So, doc string long back in chapter 1 we have discussed. Under which topic? Can anyone tell me? Should know it. See, as I'm asking you everything, now I come to know how much you have understood.
Second chapter.
Not in second chapter, in first chapter only we have discussed. And in very beginning,
Comment.
very good. See, quickly you are able to recall. Okay, you got it. So comments, I hope you remember how to write comments in Python. One is simple single line
Hash.
comment, that is hash. Actually this is the real comment of Python, but Python says make use of this multi-line string. Getting? By not assigning it to anything. You don't assign it to anything. If you assign, then it's a string, and if you don't assign, anyway it's going to get ignored. It will be treated as a comment. Such multi-line comments in Python are called as a doc string. or documentation string. Do you agree, all of you? Okay. Now next thing what I want to say, that if you write such doc string in a class body to describe something about that class, like class cat, and then here you are writing 3 quote. If it is single line, to write only single quote, doesn't matter. Okay. If it is going to be more than 1 line, then use 3 quote. Okay, this is my first animal class something. Okay, and then my normal further definition, whatever, next thing, methods and whatever you have. More methods are there, like run, snore, everything you have put, jump, sleep, whatever. So this string which you have written in a 3 quote, it can be single line also. So if it's single line, so you can use single quote also. This is called as a documentation string. But as it is put within the class, what happens internally? See how Python interpreter runtime works. It will store this whole comment in one class property of this cat class. Means this cat will get one property. Okay. And the name of that property is _doc_. It is automatically given in the gift form. You can remember like that. Okay, this property we haven't added. We didn't add this whole property in your class. But then also to your class, it will get this property. And you can access and see that property. Cat dot _doc_. And when you'll access it, it will give you this value only. You understanding? Same thing can be done within a method also. Inside a method also it is applicable. Okay? See, I'll show you an example. Like I've written class cat. And then inside this now, if you're going to write in single line, then don't use 3 quote. Okay, like this. This is animal cat class. Okay, and then I'm writing pass. For time being, I'm leaving it empty. Now if you print and see cat dot _doc_, it will print that documentation string only. Does it print? Means how intelligently Python interpreter is doing everything internally for you. You don't have to do all that thing. Whenever you create a class, automatically that class will get one property. But it's a class property, not an object property. Now you'll say, what is the difference between class property and object property? I'm coming to it. That topic also we will discuss in detail. Okay? But class property and object. In short, just quickly, I'll just tell you. Class property means which is in the class namespace and shared by all objects. If you're creating 3 objects, so all the objects are going to share that data because it is created in the class namespace. Getting? So once only it is created in the class namespace and all objects are going to share that one copy only. And when it is created separately for each object, getting? In that object's namespace, then it is called as an object property. So object property and the class property. Okay. So at this moment, just in short, remember class property means which is created in the class namespace and shared by all the object. And when it is created in individual object namespace and every object will have its own copy, then it is called as a instance, means object data. And this is class data. Okay. So if it is class data, so you'll access it by class name. But can I access class data by object name also? Can this object also access this class data? Yes, it can. Getting? Because it is shared by all. Like here, if I create money equal to cat, and still I am trying to access money dot _doc_, still it will print the same string. Getting? Actually, it is not for money object. It is actually common to that cat class. And kitty also can access and money also. Suppose here I create kitty object of class cat and I write kitty dot double underscore doc double underscore. Still for kitty also the same thing is printed. Why? Because it is not actually a property of money and it is not property of kitty. It is property of the class which is common to both money and kitty, both can access it. Getting? So in coming slides there is a separate topic, class data, instance data. I'll be telling you about that, but just a short difference you have got it. Okay, which is common to all is class data and which is individual means which is belonging to each object separately, that is object data or instance data. Okay, coming to that in more detail, you got it. Similarly, you can store this docstring in functions also, inside methods also. See, suppose I create one function def foo, okay, and inside this I'm writing this is foo function, and again pass. Okay, so now I hope you know that every function is also an object. This also in the previous chapter, in the previous session I told you, is everything a object in Python?
Yes.
So is that foo also an object?
Yes.
Yes. And what Python does is it will add this documentation string. This is actually a doc string which you can write by 3 quote also if you want to extend to more than one line. Will it add this doc string in this foo object property? Means that foo object will have one property now, double underscore doc. See a foo dot double underscore doc, if I write, it will print the same thing. This is foo function. How runtime everything is happening, can you imagine? Internally everything is happening. Means just you define a function, add a documentation string, runtime what will happen, this foo object will get this property and in that property this documentation string is stored. Same way, you create a class, in that you add this documentation string, runtime this whole documentation string is stored in this property of that class and you can access it. So lot of things happen runtime in Python because it's a loosely typed language. It is not strict type language. It's not static, it is a dynamic language. Code only creates code. Code only modifies code, which is not possible in static type languages. Okay. So documentation string concept is clear. Then we'll move to many more things. See, so commonly known as docstring in short. Is it a string literal? String literal means, is it a constant string? Yes. And it is used in the class, module, function or method. Within the function also, within the method also, within the module also. And if you want to access that, to write module name dot. Okay. And same way within the class also. Everywhere that docstring you can put. Okay. But internally what happens? We write that simple docstring as a string literal. But internally Python will go and store that docstring in this property. See here, docstrings are accessible from the doc attribute of any of the Python objects. Getting? See here. Now I have created class cat. I wrote this docstring. Now I wrote it in 3 code, but actually it was meant for multi-line. If it is single line, so no need to write 3 code. You can write single quote also. But what will internally interpreter do? Will it store this whole string in this property of that cat class? Yes, guys? In that cat class, will it have this double underscore dog double underscore property? And in that property, will it go and store this?
Yes, sir.
Sure, no? Clear? Others also do respond. Otherwise, like just Shweta and Rajesh. Others, Harshal and all. Sanjay. All are hearing or no?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Sure.
sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sure.
Good. Others also, right? Swarna and Vrushali,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sakshi.
Yes, sir.
See, so I created class, then I'm writing class name dot property. अरे अर्णव दरवाजा बंद कर. अर्णव. See here, so I'm writing class name dot that property. So in that property, this value is stored internally. So that only get printed. Okay? But even you can access it via object. But when you are accessing via object, so actually it's not a object property. It is class property only. But the peculiarity is class property is accessible to all the objects also. Because class property is shared to all the objects. Okay? So if I create object and still try to access, it will print the same thing.
So,
Even within the function. Clear? Just I'll complete this and then I'll answer your question. So if this is a function and in that also you are writing a string, will this string get stored in that doc property of that f dot double underscore doc? It gets printed. Same thing you can do it for method also, module also is possible. Okay? Now what the query is?
so as a function object is a object of functional class. So if we are writing function doc, then it will also return the same thing.
Yes.
But if there are multiple functions,
It gets saved and replaced. It gets replaced. Okay.
the latest one will be
Whatever is there
in the memory,
okay.
right?
Okay, now hope this part is clear. Now moving to the next concept, that is data members. Now here maybe little more clarification you'll get, because many might have not got that clear understanding between a class property and a instance. So here you may get in more detail what is class property and what is instance property. So first of all, what do you mean by data members? So data members means the characteristics or the properties or the what you can say attribute of the object. So whatever object is there, so every object will have its own attributes. Like yesterday we took an example of cat. So it is having its own characteristics, its properties, its attribute, like its height, color, weight, breed, or car I took. So car is having its own characteristic. What is its make, its model, then the speed, gear, mileage, engine capacity. Same way I took an example of balloon. So its diameter, then what type of balloon it is, means air filled, gas filled, whatever. Then the shape of the balloon. So these are the characteristics. So that characteristics only, when you put it in a programming model, you'll call it as a data member. Okay, right? So data members store what? All data members are responsible for storing the characteristics or responsible for storing the properties or attributes of an object. Okay, so now there are two types of data members. One is instance data member and another is called as a class data member. Okay, actually class data member means only static data member in C++ and Java. So I'm just not trying to relate because some are not knowing it. So if you're knowing it, then just remember in Java and in C++, class data member means only static data member. Okay, so here we are talking from Python literature. So Python literature says instance data, class data. Okay, now we will first differentiate it. We'll make the clear understanding between instance data, class data, and then we will move on ahead in adding this data, how to add this data in the class, all that we'll discuss. Okay, so first I'll just try to tell you what do you mean by class data. So class data means that data which is kept in class namespace. Means every class is also going to take one space, one copy, okay, and that space is shared by all the objects of that class. As many objects of that class you create, all are going to share that copy. So if it's a class data, it is created where? In the class namespace. Okay, and example I'm taking cat. Okay, so class cat is also going to have one own namespace, and there the variable are created. And every object of that class is going to share that one copy only. Every object, as many objects you create cat class, you're creating one kitty, you're creating money, clear, you're creating some other cat. So all these cat objects are going to share that single copy which is created in that class namespace. Okay, so class data means that data which is created in the class namespace, and it is shared by all the objects of that class. It is only going to exist once, means only one copy of which data is created. Class data. Class data can never duplicate. Class data copies only once. Class data copy is only once in the class namespace, and it gets space at the time of class loading only. When the bytecode will get loaded in the memory, that time only the memory is allocated for this class data. Hear carefully. The objects are created or not, irrespective the object is created or not created, who is sure going to get memory? Class data. So does class data exist prior to the object creation? Yes or no? Just tell me. Means I am telling that class data exists prior to the object creation, or exist irrespective the object is created or not created. Means object you create or you don't create, who is sure going to get memory?
Yeah, class will get, sir.
Class.
Correct? So this class data always gets memory at the time of code loading. You make object or you don't, this is in existence. Class data exists irrespective object exists or not. You make object or you don't, but class data will sure get memory. And if you create object later, all that objects are going to share that single copy. You understanding? All are going to share that single copy which is created in the class namespace. Clear? Okay, this is clear to you, I hope. Now how to identify that it is a class data? So Python says that whenever you are defining a variable, and what is the rule of defining variable according to Python? Tell me quickly. When do we say a variable is defined? Who will tell me?
When we do the assignment,
Yes, clear. When we do assignment to a variable, the variable is defined according to Python rule. So Python says that when you define a variable within the class body, outside the method but within the class body, you have not defined any method. No method is defined. Or suppose, example, here I have defined one method, def set data. Some method is there. This is a method. Every method is a function, remember. Every method is a function. But when that function is inside a class, it's called as a method. Okay. So now this is your method Here you have written some logic, but you have defined a variable inside the class body. See here, x equal to and something you have assigned to it. Not within the method. Inside method you are not doing. It is outside the method but inside the class body. Correct? So this becomes which data?
Class data.
Class data. So how to identify in Python कि it's a class data? Python has made some convention. So by seeing a class, you should be immediately able to recognize that this is a class data. So how do we recognize it's a class data? When any variable is defined inside the class body but outside the method. It is outside the method but inside the class body. This is a class data. Okay, now I guess it is very much sufficient to understand. Now we will move on to instance data. Now instance data means that data which is belonging to the object namespace, or you can say that data which is created whenever you create an object. Means whenever an object is created, then only that data come into existence. Class data come into existence when at the time of code loading. You make object or you don't. You create object of cat or you don't create. Who is in existence? This class data in that shared namespace. But instance data will come into existence only when you create an object, and it is separate for each object. Getting? Like suppose your instance data is height and color of the cat. So every object will have its own height and color. Height variable, color variable. Again, another object. Height variable, color variable. It is not shared. It is their individual belonging. Okay. So why we call it as instance data? Because it is belonging to the instance. And instance means copy. Copy means object. So every object will have its own data. So every object which is having its own data will be called as a which data? Instance data. Getting? It is not at all shared. It is kept in individual object namespace. Though their names are same, but the scope is different. Here also height and color. Here also height and color. Here also height and color. Though the name of the property is same, but the memory is different because this is in this object namespace. This is in this. So these two are created in Mani's namespace. These two are created in Kitty's namespace. You understanding? Clear? And instance data will come into existence only when you create instances. Instances means objects. Objects means copies of your class. So unless and until objects are created, this data won't come into existence. Okay. Now the question may be how to identify it as an instance data. It is not like C++ or Java. In C++, Java, how do we recognize it? Okay, those who know, those who don't know, just add in your knowledge. Over there, if it is C++ or if it is Java, okay, so you write your instance data here only by giving access specifiers like this: private, string, color, private, int or float, weight, right? And there in C++ or Java, if you use static word, private, static, x, integer, x equal to 10. So now I wrote colon, but actually it is Java class. So I have to put brace bracket. But in Java C, both are written in same way. When there is a static word, then it is a class data. And when there is no static word, then it is an instance data. Means this will be belonging to each object. Every object will have color height, color height, color height. and X will be not for all object. It is common to all. You understanding now? So if you create a money object, it will have color height. Kitty object, it will have color height. But X will be common to both. But this way we identify. When static word, it is class. If not static word, then it is instance. But Python doesn't give such syntax. Python says there is no provision for declaring which data? Instance data. For class data, this is the provision. How to identify it's a class data? When a variable is getting defined inside the class body and outside the method. But then what about instance? So they say for instance data, when you will have such statement within the method, inside the method, when there is a self dot property, self dot color, again defining only, like here also you are defining by assigning, here also you are defining by assigning, you are assigning some color to color. Clear? Self dot color equal to color, self dot height equal to height, getting? Self dot weight equal to weight. So such statements when come, such assignments within the method, then only they will be called as instance data. Okay, now some may say, what is that self? Okay, again C++ Java, it is very much same like this. If you remember this pointer or this object, it is same. Don't worry, we are coming to the topic self. What do you mean by self? What is the significance of self? I'll come to it. Now just remember, whenever inside the method, when you see such lines, self dot property equal to value, then these properties are added in that object. Okay, and these are added in the class namespace. You understanding? Yeah, is it? If it is clear, then quickly give me confirmation so that we can move to the slides. And if you have doubt, please ask me.
Yes.
So first, is the difference clear to you? So quickly, can anyone tell me what is the basic difference between the class data and instance data?
For the class data, like whenever we are creating any class, then it will have its own properties, and the objects which are invoking those class will have their individual characteristics or properties.
Okay, means you want to say, but
And
individual for each object, that
Yes.
will be called as which one?
For object level, it will be
Object
object instance or object
instance
data,
data. Hmm.
right? Object instance, and every object will be having common access to class instance data members.
Okay. So when
So
all the
we can
objects are sharing,
access the class data member without creating an object.
yes, she want to say कि class data exists irrespective you create object or you don't create. You create or you don't create, who is existing? Class data. And instance data will come into existence only when you create object. Getting? And class data is shared by all object. Instance data is individual for every object. Every object will have their own copy. Getting? And in programming point of view, how to recognize it's a class data and how to recognize it's an instance data. Just now I told. Just at least syntactic thing you can tell me.
If variable is created inside a class body and outside method, it is a class data member.
Yes, very good. When you define a variable but within the class body outside method, then it is class data. And how do you recognize it's an instance data?
If it is defined inside the method,
defined inside the method, but that too
access
how?
using dot operator.
But before that dot operator, self.
Self.
Clear? Self dot property. But self is not a mandatory name. Again, it's not a keyword. It's not a compulsory name. You can give any other name. But universally accepted name is, this whole Python community has accepted that common name called self. But no such compulsion. So self dot property equal to value. Such line when comes in the method, that will be called as a instance data. So I hope it is clear. Now no need to go into too much more detail. Okay, and still if you have queries, please ask me. Okay, so instance data member means a variable that is defined inside a method. Inside method you are defining, and inside a method also you are defining by which syntax? Self dot property equal to value. If you forget to write that self, see here, you are just writing color equal to something. Self you are not writing. So it will become a local variable to that method. Color will become a local variable. Okay, it won't be added in that object. Self is actually an object. Okay, and in that object this property is added. So when the property is added to individual object, it is obviously an object data or instance data. Okay, see here. So I hope you got it. So variable that is defined inside a method and belongs to the current instance of a class. Instance means, you know, na? Copy. Copy means only object. So when it belongs to individual object, it is instance data. And a variable that is shared by all the objects, okay, is called as a class data. And how to identify it's a class data? So I said, whenever you define a variable within the class body but outside the method. We are going to take example, don't worry, it's not everything theoretical concept, examples also, but before that you need to know the definitions, you need to clarify all that thing. That's why I've given you. Okay? Now we'll talk about how to add attributes. Right? So already I told Python allows you to create an empty class. Python says you can define an empty class, then you can create objects of it, and then runtime you can add properties in it. Okay, so later also you can add instance data. If you don't have methods, okay, if you don't have method, so later also you can add properties, which we are going to learn first, that only. Okay, so Python says you can create an empty class, you can create objects of it, and later you can add properties in it. Okay, so that we'll discuss. But then you should be able to identify the drawback of this approach, and to overcome that drawback, we'll be learning how to add methods. Okay, so first I said like Python allows you to create empty class, and then you can add attributes to that class. Clear? Is it legal? Which is actually not legal in a static type language, and I'm sure those who come from that genre, they don't easily digest it. For them, they feel little weird, it's something wrong. So here it is allowed. Same concept is in JavaScript also. No? Some are already web developers also in our group, I guess. Clear? They should know. In JavaScript also the similar concept is allowed. But JavaScript is not a pure object oriented. Okay? So Python allows you to create first empty class and then add attributes to that class. See, this way. First create an empty class, then create an object, and then write object dot property equal to value. Okay, so I'll give you quickly one example, and then you should be able to identify the drawback from object oriented principles of object oriented programming. From that point of view, you should be able to tell me. Okay? See you. Now you have a bit of PyCharm, you can do it in PyCharm as well. Many expert people use idle only. There is nothing like that. Any one, even Jupyter Notebook also you can use. Spider you can use. So many IDs are available. Okay. New Python file. I'll give name to it as OP1, suppose. Object Oriented Programming 1. It will get saved in our namespace only. See here. First I'm creating an empty class cat. Pass. I hope you are agreeing that an empty class is created. Then I'm creating two objects of this cat class. So money and kitty. Okay? Whenever you are creating object, you have to write class name round bracket. Okay? Now still some might have not cleared with that concept. Why round bracket? So I told you here also what is getting called one magic method. Not that underscore str. Underscore str is called when you pass it to print. Here also another magic method. There are many magic methods. Getting? So here also one magic method is called, which is called as constructor. So that is called. Okay. So one object of cat class created means one copy reference in money. One more copy reference in kitty. Okay. Now I am adding some properties, right, to money object. So money dot height equal to, or weight I'll take, equal to 4.5, and money dot color equal to black. Okay? And kitty, I'll add properties in kitty also. So kitty dot weight equal to 6.7 and kitty dot color equal to white. So this way I've added properties, right? I'm sure C++ Java programmers, they will feel something wrong how it is. You have to define all these properties within the class body only. Yes or no? In Java we cannot do it like that. Here you have to announce, you have to tell that what the data member name is, public, string, color, public, float, height or weight, and then only you can access it. Here you can create an empty class, create object, later you can add properties in it. It's allowed. Clear? Now what I'm doing is I'm printing this data. So while printing, I'm accessing that properties. See all of you. Getting? But you may have a doubt again, कि how come runtime it is adding it? So what happens is just remember, whenever you create an object, the moment you create an object of that class, this object is automatically going to get one property inside called as double underscore dict double underscore. Here carefully, double underscore dict double underscore. And this property is a dictionary. And this is the property which every object will get whenever they are born. Born means when an object is created, we say it is born. So whenever the object is created, immediately that object will get this property, which is a dictionary. And in that dictionary, your properties get added as a key value pair. You understanding? See how they have designed the language, just imagine. So weight will become a key in this dictionary and 4.5 will be the value. Color will be the key, black will be the value. Means you are understanding how the data structures which we have studied in the previous chapter, dictionary, set, tuple, list, how this is coming automatically used. So double underscore dict double underscore is the dictionary containing all these properties. You can print and see that dictionary is allowed because Python doesn't keep anything hidden. Getting? So which our government should follow. No? They should not keep anything hidden. Getting? So this is clear to you. This is also clear to you. Now I'll just try to access properties of it. So I am writing like this, meow, my weight is, comma, money dot weight. Can you see runtime it has added that property, and my color is money dot color. Okay. Similarly, I am printing Kitty's data also. Meow, my weight is Kitty dot weight, and my color is Kitty dot color. Agreed? Okay. Now if I run this program, do you know that first two objects are created, right? Pictorially I'll show you. First one object of cat class created, and its reference is stored in money. Okay. Again one more object, means the memory is allocated for this cat object. One more object created, its reference is stored in Kitty. Correct? Then later you added these two properties, money dot weight, money dot color. So will it add one weight property in this money object and store it with appropriate value? Getting? And means assign it with appropriate value. Color, assign with that appropriate value. Same way for Kitty, will it create one weight and will it create one color? So this is which data? Instance data or class data? Yes, guys. Will it be called as an instance data? Yes, it is instance data. Yes, obviously. Why it is? Because it is belonging to
particular object.
Yes, very good. Clear? It is belonging to particular object. Every object is having their own copy, weight color, weight color. Agreed? Now this is done. Actually we say these two properties, but these two properties are added as a key value in one dictionary, and that dictionary is actually the property of your object. Getting? But how the access they have given? They have given such direct access also. And then you're printing. So when you're printing money's weight, so it's initialized to 4.5, color to black. So run and see this, you'll get appropriate output. See, you're getting output, meow, my weight is 4.5 and my color is black. Meow, my weight is 6.7 and my color is white. Okay? Till here, I hope all of you have understood the basic things. See, I'm creating an empty class, class cat. As I've written, pass means it's an empty class. Okay, empty class definition. Then I'm creating copies of that class, means objects I've created. Money equal to cat, kitty equal to cat. Getting? Two objects, that is two instance, two copies of class cat. Is it clear? Now they both are going to get memory. Money is going to get separate memory, kitty is going to get separate memory. Then you are adding properties in money object. You are adding properties in kitty object. So I'm adding runtime one height and color property to money, one height and color property to kitty, and I've initialized them. Right? 4.5 will get in money's height, red in money's color, 6.2 in kitty's height, kitty's color. So is it adding two properties runtime to those objects? So they both will have their own height color. Both are going to have their own. Okay. So runtime adding two instance variables or instance data. See, from this two, instance data, class data. Right? Can I say like that? This is money. It will have its own height color. This is kitty and it will have its own height color. Okay. and then through print statement I'm trying to print Money's height and color, and same way through print statement I'm trying to print Kitty's height and color. Okay, hope it is clear to you guys. Right now, one more thing in this is speciality of Python, correct? That you have created an empty class, you created objects, and when you're adding properties, you can add different properties to different objects, though they both are belonging to the same class, which true object-oriented programming languages like Java and C++, they won't accept only. They say that if class cat is defined with color and weight, so all objects will have color and weight only. But as it's a dynamic language, it allows you to add different properties to different objects. You understanding? Clear? Meaning, I'll just put this in separate program and I'll quickly try to tell you that. See here. Okay, see here. So I created empty class, created object, but to money I've added weight and color, and to Kitty I'm adding height and color, which is legal. It is 100% legal. Means one object is having one set of property and the other object is having different set of property. Now only the problem will be when you are trying to print Money's weight and color, it will work. But when you are trying to print Kitty's weight and color, it will give an error. It will throw an exception, attribute error. It will say Kitty doesn't have only an attribute weight. Getting? See, already an underline has come because PyCharm is that smart enough. Lot of work it does already. See, if I run this, it will throw an exception. Is it throwing attribute error? It is saying that cat object has no attribute weight. For whom it is giving? For Kitty. For Money it didn't give. But if suppose I change like that, my height is and Kitty.height, correct? And my color is Kitty.color, right? And now if I run, will it work fine? Getting on? So with this, what observation you can do? That two objects of the same class can have different set of properties. One can have one set of property and the other can have other property. Why it is again possible? Because I told you every object internally automatically gets one dictionary, and actually these properties runtime get added in that dictionary. Getting? So runtime in the dictionary you can add any properties, which is allowed. Clear? So quickly we'll just go through that point and then we'll wind up with today's session. See, Python allows you to add different attributes to different objects of the same class. Getting? For example, Kitty is having attribute height and color, whereas Money is having attribute weight and color. Okay, one object is having different set of property, another object is having different set. 100% legal. Getting? Now next time we are going to discuss the demerits or the cons, or you can say limitations of this approach. This approach means which approach? Creating an empty class, then creating objects, and then later adding properties in it and then printing their data. So in this, some drawbacks or some demerits you might have observed from object-oriented programming point of view. So that we will discuss, and then we'll move to the next concept like adding methods. Then after adding methods, then automatically self concept will come.